Real quick, this is Felix. I know there's two Felixes here, but in the Zoom meeting, 7:30 it says the personnel committee will start, but then in the PDF it says at 7 p.m. So I'm not sure which one is which.
Hi, Counselor Abdul. I'm here as well, just in case.
Hi, Milagros. Hey, Felix. Yes, it was always my understanding it was 7 p.m. and the agenda says 7 p.m. I did see when I logged on to Zoom that did advertise 7:30. Don't know why.
Yes, it was a meeting prior to this one, Mr. Abdul.
Right, and Councilor Rodriguez had said that he'd probably go 20-30 minutes. I thought we were meeting immediately afterwards,
Yeah.
if not 7. You know, we certainly could proceed and go out of order and take Mr. Garcia Jr., so we don't confuse him with Felix Sr., the clerk. And then go to Ms. Puello and then come back around to Ms. Encarnacion. Because Ms. Encarnacion probably thinks it's 7:30 as well.
I might have her cell phone somewhere. I could text her, Counselor, if you would like.
Sure, to be fair to her. I'm at your disposal, everybody. If we don't get a hold of Esther, we could wait, or we could take out of order and get started with the other two positions.
We can start out of order.
Okay, sounds
If
good.
you
Yes,
like.
please. Yes, thank you.
All right, I will,
And if we need to make a motion just to start our meeting earlier, so we can do so, just because people was expecting that was going to be at 7:30.
yeah, and I would think legally we're okay because the agenda says 7, so
Yeah.
I would think legally we're good to go.
Oh, yeah. You're right. Yeah, we can take out of order. Yeah.
And I see Esther has joined us, so we are good to go. We won't have to do that. So
Okay.
with that, Mr. Mejia, I'm going to gavel us in.
I apologize. It's just that the meeting said 7:30, so I thought it was the separate meeting that was taking place. So I joined and then had to take myself.
No worries, no worries. Welcome, Ms. Encarnacion. Appreciate it. Good evening, everyone. My name is Dave Abdu. I'm the chairman of the Personnel Committee, and this evening is the March 22nd meeting of the Personnel Committee, which is a subcommittee of the Lawrence City Council. Before we get started this evening, I am joined this evening by our Council Vice President, Councilor Estela Reyes, as well as by my colleague, Councilor Jorge Gonzalez of District C. And yes, that is it for now. And our clerk this evening will be Felix Garcia, and Mr. John Mejia is supporting us with technology. With that, I would ask that we begin with the Pledge of Allegiance, and we'll proceed with the meeting. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty
and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. I will start with the legal stuff, and then I'll entertain a motion with respect to the minutes. Pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, general laws, 30A, section 18, and the governor's March 15, 2020 order imposing strict limitations on the number of people that may gather in one place, this meeting of the City of Lawrence's Personnel Committee is being conducted via remote participation. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings as provided by the order. A reminder that persons who would like to listen to or view this meeting while in progress may do so using the following access locations as posted on the agenda, which is our Facebook page for the Lawrence City Council, as well as the Lawrence City Council page, which will lead you to our YouTube page. And so we will be available there for viewing, and those at home already know that. So with that, I would entertain a motion with respect to the minutes of the January 25th meeting, 2021.
So move.
Second,
There's a motion by Councilor Reyes. It's seconded by Councilor Gonzalez. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
aye,
Aye. Clerk Garcia, if you would take the roll, please.
Counselor Reyes,
Yes.
Counselor Gonzalez,
yes,
and Chairman Abdul.
And the chair votes in the affirmative. Thank you, Clerk Garcia. Thank you, colleagues. Those minutes are approved. And the first agenda item this evening I will entertain is item number 5121, the appointment of Ms. Esther Encarnacion as the Business and Economic Development Director, as forwarded to us by Mayor Kendris Vasquez. It was received on March 11th, 2012. What I would note for members is that Mr. Bonet and the HR department has provided us a rating scale if you choose to use it, and guidance as to how to use it. That would be something new for us with appointments. And I would leave it to each individual counselor. My intention is with each of these candidates is to ask them to say a few words and then begin questioning by you for to lead to us voting to either send up to the favorable with a favorable or other recommendation to the full council. Are there any questions before we proceed? Hearing none, we will begin with item number 5121, the appointment of Esther Encarnacion as the Business and Economic Development Director. Good evening, Ms. Encarnacion. If you would, introduce yourselves to everyone here and at home, your name, your address, and then I would ask you to just immediately proceed and tell us why it is you want to be the Business and Economic Development Director for the City of Lawrence.
Thank you. My name is Esther Encarnacion. I am a resident of the City of Lawrence. I reside at 3 North Parish Road, apartment 2 in Lawrence, Massachusetts. I have been working for the City of Lawrence since July 2019. I began working for the city as a project officer under the Economic Development Department. When I came into the department, Ms. June Black was the director of the department, and within a month, she left. So I was the person that has been managing the department since that time. I was under the leadership of Teresa Park, and then was working closely with Pedro Soto, our current office of planning manager. I believe that I am a good candidate for this position because of my background. I've been working with the city, supporting businesses since basically 2018 when the gas explosion took place. I was the project manager, helping do outreach for 3 communities, Lawrence, Andover, and North Andover. And basically, I love serving businesses. I love providing technical assistance support to small businesses. I'm also working with larger employees in the city to make sure that their needs are met, and trying to establish systems that can help, for example, Citizen Serve. I have been one of the people that have taken the leadership role to make sure that all applications are available online and that we move the city forward to the next step, to make sure that our businesses do not only know how to run their operations, but that they have the knowledge to move to the next level. And that's one of the things that I have noticed that is missing in our city, like having the support for small businesses, making sure that what is happening now with COVID, many businesses didn't know how to even have social media, have an email account, be able to be at the pace of the technology. So that's one thing that in my department, we're working, making sure that they provide the technical assistance support for businesses, that they have access to resources that are available, not only through the city, but also through the state and federal government. So that's one of the things that I'm doing. I am also bilingual, and I could say that before, although Abel and other people were bilingual, but we're trying to make a connection to the business community. We're 80% Hispanic community, and many of our businesses need that support. Have someone that can connect with them, that is able to provide them training, and that also can align with the vision of our leaders. For example, aligning with the vision of Mayor Candice Vasquez. I also align with the vision of our previous mayor, Mayor Rivera, and so to make sure that we move the city forward.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that introduction, Ms. Encarnacion, and your service to the city. We all have a copy of your application as well as your resume and the aforementioned guidance with respect to your position. I would also note that we have the job description for everyone's edification that lays out the duties and the qualifications of the position. So to that end, I will open questions. Let me just jump off something you said. If you would, tell me a little bit about social media and technology. If you would, just give us a bit of a feeling for how you would help a company that is, it's most, at least in my district, South Broadway is a business district, the primary business district in South Lawrence West. And we've got many bodegas, nail salons, and others that have been, deeply impacted by the pandemic, like many others. How would you help them, a small business owner, probably one or two people? How would you help them with the social media and the technology? How is it, as economic and development director, you would do that?
So we are actually doing it. We began to do that in 2018 when the gas explosions took place, especially like Broadway and the whole South Lawrence section. We set up different training sessions to teach people about Facebook, for example, not having a personal Facebook account, but having a business Facebook account. So we taught businesses how to promote themselves, how to set up marketing strategies. And it's not that expensive. So that's something that we did. Especially setting up a business email. Many business owners had their personal email account connected to their business. And we taught them how to separate that, how to separate their business from their personal lives, having a business account, a business bank account, because many businesses, they commingle funds. And when they, especially for PPP, for example, what we're doing with SBA, they didn't know how to separate that. So that's the first step, to teach them the advantages of social media, how they can market their business, how they can have a Google account to show business operations hours and keep them updated. Because many businesses are really good at taking the initial training, setting up like a Facebook, Twitter account, but they don't keep up with technology. So we tell them how to keep up with technology and to be able to promote their businesses.
One more anecdotal. I have a small business that I'm currently working with. It's a him, and he has a commercial business and is seeking access to commercial space, garages and office space. How would you receive, what would you do for a whether it be a young lady or a gentleman that comes to you and says, I'm a small business owner, I'm struggling to find space in Lawrence and afford space in Lawrence? Would you see that as your role to receive that person, and how would you help?
Actually, it is part of the role. Previously we had a form that when we got a request, we will send the tip to the person that was interested so they could fill it out. So right now what we're doing is, through the Merrimack Valley Planning Commission, we have set up a web page that is updated. It has different listings from LoopNet. We're also uploading local resources. There are some landlords and business property owners that they don't use LoopNet and the different ways to showcase. So we're working with the Merrimack Valley Planning Commission to have that list updated. Last week, I had a meeting with Sabrina Dvojo, our communications director, so we can incorporate that search tool into our website. So that's the one thing that I do. Like recently, there was a new business that was coming to the city, and he was trying to find a location that was near the highway, that was between 2,000 to 3,000 feet of square space. So they just provide me the guidelines, and I was able to connect them with property owners and also with the Merrimack Valley Planning Commission, so he could find the space. He actually signed up a lease with in Canal Street that he's going to be bringing a business. So that's one service that we currently offer.
Thank you. Appreciate the response. Thank you. And with that, I do not have any further. I do not have any further questions at this time. And I would like to ask my colleagues for their questions at this time. Are there any questions or motions? Vice President Reyes.
Thank you, Councilor President. Chair. Good evening, Mrs. Carnacion. A nice meeting you, even though it was a virtual meeting. I never had the pleasure before. I know that we've been exchanging messaging for the business that I have referring to you. And I have your application right in front of me, which I have all the details in all the background experience and the research that you've been having done for the city. First of all, thank you for continuing expressing your interest to work with our city. That's the first thing I'm going to say. And I have to be honest, your qualification, it kind of impressed for the position that we are looking. But the most important thing is just to have the passion to work with our small businesses. It's a great need. And it's like you say, 80% of our population is Hispanic. They don't know how to put things together. But now that you're going to be in this position, what would it be the tools that you think we can provide to you just to continue moving forward, as you said? And what would it be that you would have come in front of us and asked just to work with those businesses?
So right now I can tell you that many of the tools that our business community need is having access to financial resources, but having access, as we mentioned, to the technical assistance. So that's one of the great resources that our community need. My background is I have a bachelor's degree in information technology and programming, implementations. I actually, as you saw in my resume, I was doing implementations through logistics and distribution in different countries, not only in the United States. And I think that's a great need in our community, being able to connect to technology, being able to have the resources and feeling that their voices are being heard. One of the concerns people have mentioned to me many times is that I knew the city, I knew, I could see the mayor, I could see, but I felt that there was not a voice that was hearing our concerns, that we were getting the support. So, for example, the Small Business Relief, that is the first initiative that we had to provide funding to people, but it had so many barriers, like people needed to have a DUNS number, that people didn't have idea what it was. Then it was asking for people to get a SAMS.gov registration through the federal government. No way people could do it. People decided not to apply. They're like, you're asking me for so many things that it's crazy. Just getting a business certificate, that was another barrier for another grant. So just making sure that our business community get the support, because they want to excel, they want to be successful, but they need the support from our city. They need the way to learn and be able to connect to it. They don't want to stay behind, but they want to move forward. So that's one thing that we need, is to be able to listen first to their concerns and then to continue to support them.
Yeah, but I believe that education part, it needs to happen before that, because it doesn't matter that they have the tools, but if they don't know how to use it, that's going to be basically leaving us and the sand hole. So my concern is that we might can have those funds, that we might can have the right person, like in this case, it could be you, and I know it's you. But if they don't get the right guidance, it's how to apply, how to get into it. So how we are going to go and get to them?
Active outreach, that's something that is happening. We're connecting with the businesses, not only through radio, we're like connecting to the businesses through WhatsApp. We're connecting to the businesses through being in the streets. Like our team right now takes at least 3 days of the week that we go out there for an hour, and we decide to start walking on the street and, have you applied for PPP? Have you applied for the small business relief? Do you know that these resources are available? So it's continued outreach. People sometimes they're so focused on running their business, but just running their business, but they don't spend any time developing their business. So it's making sure that they have those connections. And so that's how we're gonna get. Many of the programs that we're putting together, a requirement is that they take some training. So if you get $5,000, it is good. It's gonna help you to pay the rent. But guess what? One of the requirements is within 6 months, you have to finish a training, as simple as learning how to create a credit for your business, as simple as learning about the history of your business in numbers, so you'll know how to learn how to read a budget. So it's simple things. It's not taking 20 hours. It's taking a workshop for like 1 or 2 hours, but to start getting in the habit that you need to work, not only to get the money to pay the debt that you have or to pay the rent, but to spend some time on learning how to administer your business. So that's one of the things that we're asking. It's a requirement for many of the programs that we have. So that's how we're gonna get active outreach, but making sure that they follow through and that they provide proof that the money that is being given to them is used for the right purpose. It's unfortunate, but many businesses, they have taken money from the PPP, EIDL, and they have gone and spent the money. And we have many Dominicans. People are going to the Dominican to buy an apartment. So we're trying to make sure that what they're using the money is for what they're saying that they have the needs. I'm not saying that is in Lawrence, but it's happening. So we're just trying to make sure that people get educated and they understand that it's a two-way commitment, that if you're getting the support from the city, is because you're going to invest that money and that support in your business to move to the next step.
So how would it be the way to monitor that they are spending the money in the right way and not to rent an apartment or do something that they're not supposed to be doing with the money? So how do we have that in
It is a lot of work, but we're keeping them accountable. So with the PPP loan, they have to provide proof to the government that they spend the money to get it forgiven. It is the same way for the different programs that we have with the city. So once you receive the money, you have to provide proof that you pay the bills that you provided at the beginning of the application, that you pay the rent that you said you were gonna pay, and that you said whatever you committed to do, that you did it. So that's why we're doing it. As I said, it is a lot of work, but I think it's changing the mindset of our community to small businesses to say, I will do, and what I said, I will do.
So on those businesses that you had already been visited, then do you notice any interesting to be part of that program, to learn how to the process and just to kind of keep everything in order as a business?
So what we are doing is, for example, through the Small Business Relief, to the Restaurant Initiative, we are teaching them how to use technology, how to, as I said, it's really important. We are teaching them how to use something as simple as Citizen Serve, and they know it's work, but they see the benefit. They see the benefit that now they're connected with the city. For example, we just sent a blast email about outdoor dining that is going to be set up. So businesses want to be engaged, but they were afraid. They didn't have the way to connect. And I just don't want, I'm not an IT department, but it's just showing them little things that is gonna help them make a difference. It's like our parents. I don't know, the Hispanic community, for example, teaching our parents how to use WhatsApp. And I will say, this is on a personal level, but you see how our parents, when they learn to send that little message to their friends in the Dominican, it's like, or a little picture. So it's the same thing with the business. You know, it's like when they learn that through technology, they can get a customer, or they get a phone call because somebody saw their business hours, or they saw a nice picture of a plate that before they didn't have in their Facebook page. It just, they see that they can move forward, that they are like, this is good. This is that extra support that I needed for my business.
Okay, so I think that you know that we have a business liaisons here, so he might can be able to connect you through those businesses that might need your help, because I know in the north side we have many of those. So thank you. No more question. I think you open up in the beginning of your introductions. You let me without question, and thank you. Thank you for being part of our city.
Thank you, Councilor Reyes. Councilor Gonzalez, did you have any questions or motions? Let me unmute you. Hold on. Hold on. I can't unmute you. You have to unmute yourself, Mr.
Yeah,
Gonzalez.
he have to do it himself.
There you go.
Yeah, I've been working with the mayor, Kendrick Vasquez, and the lady. I know the job she's doing. Very well job with all the business in City of Lawrence. First time I met her, I didn't know, but I'm familiar with the job she's doing, and I would like to make a motion to. I don't have no question for her. I know what she's doing.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I can call for the motion to send it with favorable recommendation.
There's a motion on the table to send up to the full council with a favorable recommendation. Is there a second?
Second.
It has been rightfully seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing no further discussion, I would ask all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Mr. Clerk, if you would, take the roll call, please.
Councilor Reyes,
Yes.
Councilor Gonzalez,
Yes.
and Chairman Abdul.
And the chair votes yes. Congratulations, Ms. Encarnacion. You
Congratulations.
obviously just heard you've been unanimously recommended with a favorable recommendation for the next city council meeting, which I believe is April 6th. It's going to be a long one, and it begins at 7 p.m. So if you would, please make yourself present. Should colleagues of ours have questions of you as they make their decisions as to whether or not to support your candidacy.
Thank you so much for the opportunity, and I will be there. Thank you.
Very good. Did you have
Thank
any
you.
questions of us?
No, I do not.
Very good. Have a good night. You don't need to hang around
Thanks.
unless you wish to. And we'll see you on April 6th.
Thank you.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next item is item number 5221, the appointment of Felix Garcia Jr. as the city engineer, received on March 11th as forwarded by Acting Mayor Kendrick Vasquez. Mr. Garcia, same thing as Ms. Encarnacion. If you would introduce yourself to us, please give us your name and address for the record. And then if you would, my first question, just lead right into the answer, and that is, why do you want to be the permanent city engineer for the city of Lawrence?
Good evening, everyone. Felix Garcia Jr. I live on 21 Fevy Street, Lawrence, Massachusetts. And I want to be the city engineer because I've been living here in the city of Lawrence since I was born. And I take a lot of pride of what I do. It's very personal for me to make sure that streets are, being constructed correctly, sidewalks are being constructed correctly per the specs. And if, contractors are trying to pull something over us, I make sure that they're accounted for. So I feel like, I'm from the city, so I know the streets, and I think I'm a great asset for the city of Lawrence. So bit of a background of me. I've been assistant city engineer since 2019, and then like maybe 6, 7 months later, I became acting city engineer with the guidance of Milagros Puello. She guided me, she kind of showed me around because it's a little bit different. So where I was prior to municipality, I was at a private firm, SFC Engineering in Windham, New Hampshire, and I also worked before that. I worked at TLH Consulting as a structural engineer. So as a structural engineer, I work alongside with architects, contractors, homeowners, um, designers, and what they do is that they present me what they want to do. New house, new construction, could be an existing house, an addition, could be a failing retaining wall, how to fix it. So I see issues, problems, and I find a solution for them. Um, and the whole thing when you're a structural engineer and you're working, you're working for, you have clients, you have to provide a good service. If not, they'll find somebody else. So you have to make sure you do a good job. You have to coordinate. You have to be on top of things. You have to be very reactive to what may happen. They might have changes, and you have to be very flexible. Um, but another thing too, I'm a registered design professional, so I have my professional engineering license since 2018. I have 6 years of engineering experience. I'm also in the Army National Guard. I was a platoon leader for 2 years for the 181 engineers. I pretty much was making sure the soldiers are being trained correctly, make sure they were there on time, worked alongside with the platoon sergeant, make sure everything was flowing correctly per was asked for, and make sure that we complete the mission. So that was my role as a platoon leader. In order to become an officer, you have to go a lot of leadership schools. So I had to go through the officer candidate school in Camp Edwards for 2 years. I mean, excuse me, a year and a half. And then you learn a lot of leadership, learn how to be like work with people. You have people under you, subordinates, but you also have people superior to you that you have to follow, and you kind of learn how to take orders and give orders. And I think you have to humble yourself in a way. So you have to work with people, and you learn a lot. You learn how things should operate. And the Army, it's been operating for a long time. So and they're going to continue to operate correctly. So I learned a lot of leadership and how things should work in the Army. And I'm trying to bring some of that stuff into here in DPW. I know that what we do once we finish a mission, we have something called an AAR, which is after action review. So what we do with that is that once we complete a mission, things never go as perfect or as planned, and you want to learn what went well, and you want to know what didn't go well, and if things that didn't go well, how to improve, how to make it better. So the same thing here in DPW. There's things that are working for the city, but there are also things that are not working, and I have to work alongside with everyone, with the vendors, with the director, with water commissioner, with utility companies. I have to work with them and find ways to make things better, to improve the organization here and how we do things. So that's something a lot of things that I learned throughout my life, through the military, through working at other firms, that I could bring all those skills here for the city of Lawrence. So that as an active city engineer, you're working, and right now construction season is about to start. So what I do is I have to coordinate everything. Coordination is one of the biggest things with this job. It's making sure where the utility companies are working, where the contractors are working, depending on what projects you're doing. Some other folks within the city might have questions. Work alongside with Milagros for any water and sewer project that she has. So I have to coordinate because I don't want to be paving, for example, I don't want to be paving a street and then, I don't know, a week later, there's a big project going on that street. So then you're wasting tax dollars, you know, because now we're excavating and whatnot. And we do our best to mitigate the excavations on freshly paved streets. I give Eversource a list of streets that we'll be paving, and then with that, I let them know, hey, we're gonna be paving these streets. Please go and check if there's any gas leakage. If there is any gas leakage, please repair them, because we're gonna be paving. So the whole thought of that is that once we pave, once they do their thing, and once we pave, they don't have to come back. Now, it's not always perfect. Sometimes there's vibrations that happens, and it might disturb some of their structure, so they might have to do their thing. But again, we're trying to mitigate any excavation on freshly paved streets. Procurement is another thing that we have to do, and cost estimates of how much projects are gonna cost. So I work alongside with let's see, Milagros. I work alongside with Franklin, the acting director of public works, consultants. Try to get prices for how much streets gonna cost to repair, sidewalks, striping, and whatnot. So it's a ongoing battle, because as we repair, you know, things get deteriorated. So that's pretty much me. Also, real quick, I have a bachelor's and a master's in engineering, and I used to be a teacher for 4 years in Lawrence High as well. So I taught physics and astronomy. So I kind of learned how to interact with different people and students, and every student is different. So you have to find ways to complement how they learn. But that's pretty much it. If you have any further questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them.
Well, here they come.
Okay.
So thank you for that introduction. Appreciate it. And several of the items you brought up are they hit home and resonate. So they were good to provide in your opening sequence. And I'm going to have a couple questions here. First one, the first two are going to jump off of your own statements. You know, early in your statement, you said, and I'd like you to talk a little bit more about, I don't want contractors pulling anything over on us. Explain to us a little bit about contractors pulling something over on us. And I'll use an example. You know, you brought up Eversource, and you know, we have a lot of fresh streets in Lawrence, and we're gonna have a lot more in the coming 2 years. Whether it be Eversource or another utility, you know, they cut into these streets. Hopefully they're not new ones. But if you would, tell us a little bit about what you mean when you say, I don't want them pulling anything over on us.
Yeah, so I'll give an example. This is with Eversource. Sometimes when they have plates, steel plates, they're supposed to pin them correctly. They're supposed to fasten the plates correctly. Sometimes it's not even Eversource, because so what they do is they contract somebody to do the work, and they just want to do it quick and they want to get out. And there was an incident that happened on Lawrence Street last year that the plates it fell in the hole. So it could have been really bad. Thank God nothing bad happened. But one of the things that they want to kind of get away with is just going the easy route, just not really fastening the plates correctly to the street, and adding at the perimeter an asphalt berm to kind of not let the plate vibrate and reduce any type of movement of the plate. So for me to I have to stay on top of the contract, well, the Eversource, and let them know, hey, this is not acceptable. And if something like this happen again, we're not gonna be, I won't be approving any permits, and pretty much I'll make it very difficult for them to do any work here in the city. But they want to have a good what's a relationship with the city. So of course, anything that I tell them, hey, we need to do this, they'll definitely do it. Especially with what happened a few years ago with the gas explosions. So that's one example of how contractors might try to, you know, pull something over us. Is just trying to do something that's easy for them. You know, what's easy for them may not be safe for our residents. Other ways to cut a contractor might cut corner is the type of asphalt that they use. So we have to, or concrete. So we have to do quality control and quality assurance just to make sure that the materials that they're using are per our specs. So they might want to use for concrete. They might use not so there's air and train concrete, so that type of concrete is good for, because we live in New England, is good for salt attacks and freeze and thaw cycles. So we want to air and train our concrete, but is slightly more expensive. So what they want to do is not use that. So what we could do is we do sample cores, or we could request data from their supplier to make sure that the concrete that they use is the correct concrete. Because what might happen, or maybe previous years, a long time ago, what they will do is they'll bring, let's say, another municipality. I'm not gonna say no names, but another municipality might be doing a job, and the concrete is not good. So like we don't want that concrete. So they will do, oh, we'll bring it to Lawrence because it's Lawrence, and no one really, no one's gonna really check. So I make sure that they're not cutting corners. We're not getting bad products, bad materials, and make sure that the materials that we do use is gonna last. It's gonna last what it's supposed to last.
Thank you for that very complete answer.
Yeah.
Short answer. Saw cut, yes or no?
Saw cut what? It depends.
When you're opening those streets, are you going to allow a contractor to use the backhoe to open up the street, or is it a saw cut?
It should be a clean cut. It should be a saw cut.
Good answer.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that we've been doing more and more in the city, and I'd like to see regardless of the age of the asphalt, but all of them be a clean cut, because as we know in the winter, that's where the potholes start, right?
Yeah.
For the most part is where the road's been opened up.
Yes, it should be a clean cut, and when they excavate and then put back the material, it has to be compacted by a minimum of 8 inches. Maximum of 8 inches. That supposed to what's the word I'm looking for? Compress the material at every 8 inches, so like that doesn't settle as much, even though there might be some settlement. And then once they're at the top, they could use a base layer initially, but in the end, we do want them to come back and put a good top layer, and then seal the joints, because if we don't seal them, then water's gonna come in. It's gonna, during icy conditions, water's gonna come in and freeze and thaw, and it's gonna create potholes. That's what we see now in the city. That's what we're trying to prevent.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Good answer. Ms. Puelo was in your position during the gas crisis in 2018 and thereabouts, and she knows, having been in the position, it's very much customer facing, right? In our case, the customers are our constituents, are the 85,000 people that walk these streets, drive these streets, and live on them. What are your feelings as far as taking this job? As you know, you have one of the more, it's a very technical job, and you obviously have the technical proficiency both on paper and speaking to some of your colleagues, speak highly of your technical proficiency. The intangible, dealing with stakeholders, constituents, city councilors, we're going to get into your business a lot, right? Because we're the ones who represent the streets and the people. And I mean, I email you, fairly regularly. How do you feel about the constituent and stakeholders our end of it. Do you feel comfortable with that as part of your job? The emails, the phone calls, the texts, you name it. How do you feel about that aspect of it?
Yes. So I mean, this job is to serve the city, and we have to listen to everyone and their concerns, and write them down, and then see where will that fit in your plan, and if it's something that's urgent or something that could wait a little while. Things that are urgent if it's a safety issue or a safety matter, it has to be done ASAP, as soon as possible. But there are also instances that it's a concern, and it's a thing that we should improve. So that it just takes some type of some planning. But in the end, I have to work with constituents. I mean, this morning, I went and I spoke with at least 4 constituents, because Newport, they started working with removing of some trees. They're pretty much mobilizing. So constituents, they emailed me this weekend, and they were, just asking, hey, when is this gonna be done? When is that gonna be done? I know I spoke to you last year, and you said this was gonna be done. And my response, it's gonna be done, is that we were coming late into the season, so we can't construct certain things like sidewalks during the cold months, because then the product that we'll be putting on our sidewalks there might be some issues. So we have to do it during the spring. So I will explain that to them, and they get that. And then, by them emailing me this weekend, I met with them, because I find it easier that we're both on the same page. Or I'm having waters. I'll give you another example. So on Taft Street, there's a driveway that we already paved, and there's a lip between the driveway, the end of the driveway, and where it meets the street. There's like around an inch lip. The constituent, she was concerned that the plows during the winter months were gonna rip up her driveway. And then I wanted to meet with her. I called her. I couldn't meet with her because she was working. But while I was there on site, I was letting her know, actually the lip is still, you have like a half-inch lip. It's still okay per Mass DOT specs. You could have a half-inch. It actually is gonna help you, because she lives where she lives is kind of downhill a little bit. So that lip, when there's any rainfall coming down, is gonna that lip's gonna become like a gutter line, and it's gonna prevent water getting into her driveway. So there's actually a good thing that you have that. If it's flushed, water may potentially go into your driveway, so we don't want that. But I did say, though, there is a joint between the driveway and the street, and water, again, during freezing conditions, could go in and break and cause some mayhem. So I did recommend it, and I told her what we could do is we could add a sealant that will prevent water from getting in the joint, and mitigate any potential cracks or potholes. So that's just me getting involved, talking to constituents. I also get counselors asking requests, and what I do, I kind of give them my technical advice, expertise, depending on the matter, and how we could go about it. Sometimes certain people don't have the concept, and I just trying to break it down to something that makes sense, and I let them know if we could do it or we can't do it. And it's my job to let people know, if something that's feasible or not feasible. And if it's not feasible, why it's not feasible. And it's a ongoing communication, coordination with constituents, with councilors, with the mayor, with the director of public works, with the water and sewer commissioner, with vendors, with utility companies. It's an ongoing communication, coordinating thing that I have to keep going all the time. Communication is the biggest thing. I have to keep that communication going all the
Well,
time.
thank you.
Yep.
Did I cut you off?
No,
Okay.
you did not.
I'm going to close my comments with one indulgence, and that is when you were at the RTI, were you the class of 82? Were you class 82?
No,
What class?
that was class 83,
You were class 83?
2016,
All right.
83, yeah.
I was class 59, so I got a couple
59?
years. on you.
Yeah, class 83. Yeah. It was
Class
tough. It
50.
wasn't easy.
And was your senior TAC officer Major Palick, Major Christian Palick?
Yeah, he's a state trooper.
He's a state
He's a,
trooper.
yeah, at that time he was Captain Palick now, and then when I finished, he was Major. I don't know if he got promoted.
He did
Oh,
get
he's a good
promoted.
guy.
He's now Colonel Palick, and he runs the Inspector General's office. We
Okay.
were classmates together coming out of the RTI, and we went to Germany together and served we were armored cavalry officers together. So
Okay. Small world, huh?
it's a very small world. So I did the math, and I said, you got to be one of his classes.
Yes, yeah.
Well,
Mhm.
thank you. Appreciate it. And thank you for your service to our country and to our city. And I have no further questions. Thank you, Felix.
Thank you,
Colleagues,
Consul.
Vice President Reyes.
Thank you, Councilor Chair. It's really easy just to kind of go over with the person that you had been working in the past. And, but the first and the main concern, it has been covered, which is the street or the contractor. Whenever we had a job planning to do in the city, we just have to remember that those contractors, they come to work for their company, not for our city. And that's one of the biggest complaints that we ever had in all this time. And it's because they come, they do the job, they dig the street, but they never use the proper material just because they feel like no one is going to go behind them. And I am very happy that you are on top of that you're going to follow up with them, and whatever they are going to finish the job, is not to finish the job, is to have it well done, because this is something that is ongoing for such a long time. And I think it's time for us to step up and say we are the same of other cities, because basically sometimes we've been treating like, okay, they take whatever because no one comes to see. I'm glad that you are doing that. And I hope that you continue, and thank you for continue working with us. I had the pleasure to be exchanging phone calls, question, meeting, requests, and thank you for all your help. So I have
Most
no
definitely.
further questions.
Most definitely.
Thank you, Madam Vice President. Councilor Gonzalez, did you have questions or comments
Yes.
or motions? Floor is yours.
Thank you, sir. Well, as I've been on the city, ex-city councilor, I'm happy. I heard what he said, that he's on top of everything, and I would like you to do that, and I'll be happy as a city councilor and my citizens of City of Lawrence that we're gonna have somebody that care about our city, and I welcome to the city effort. Well, I appreciate what you're doing, and like I say, I was a city councilor from 2004 to 2008, and the city have a lot of very job from contractors for outside the city, and I congratulated you on the job, and do a good job, and congratulations, and I will support you to be our next.
Yeah, definitely. I can't take all the credit. I'm very thankful for the guidance that Milagros has given me, and also the ex director of Public Works, Brian Pena. They both. Any questions? Anytime I have a question, or I always go to them, and they put me to the correct direction. So I'm very thankful for them, and you know.
Yes, sir. I know you will do a good job. I know you will do a good job, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
So the
just
motion is to send, oh, sorry.
No, I was going to say thank you, Mr. Gonzalez. Are there any motions? And I think you were I stepped on.
Lady first, We lady first.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. But before I call the motion, I'm just gonna tell Mr. Garcia Jr. that is why we kept Milagro for last. The motion is to send with favorable recommendation.
Second,
A motion's been made by the vice president to send up to the council with a favorable recommendation. It's been seconded by Councilor Gonzalez. Is there any discussion? Hearing no further discussion, all those in favor say aye.
aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, I would ask that Clerk Garcia please read the roll call, please.
Counselor Reyes,
Yes,
Counselor Gonzalez,
Yes, sir.
and Chairman Abdul.
And the chair votes yes, and that's 3-0, Mr. Garcia, unanimous, to go to the full council with a favorable recommendation. And as we told Ms. Encarnacion that in the long meeting that night, we'll see what we can do about maybe getting you guys pulled forward. But please, if you have the time, make yourself available if our colleagues have any questions or potholes or anything else they can ask from you. No, but seriously, thank you. And do you have any questions of us?
No question.
Very good. Thank you, sir. And we'll see you
Thank
on
you.
April 6th.
We'll see you there. Take care.
Thank you. And so that concludes our meeting for this evening.
No,
are you sure?
Yeah, I had to see her smile. Our next item this evening is item number 5321, and that is the appointment of Ms. Milagros Puello as Commissioner of Water and Sewer, received on March 11th, 21, as submitted by Mayor Kendris Vasquez. Ms. Puello, I believe this is my honor. I think I've interviewed you 3 times now because you were originally for the position, and now here you are 2 jobs later. So if you would, please give us your name and your address for the record. And my first question is, tell us why you're here this evening and why you want to be the next Commissioner of Water and Sewer.
Thank you, Councilor Abdul. Good evening, councilors. My name is Milagros Puello. I'm a Lawrence resident. I live at 584 Lowell Street. I've been with the city of Lawrence, for about actually 4 years. Next week, initially, when I came on to the city, I came on as the city engineer. So if you like Felix, you have no choice. You can. I will not be able to go back. So I came on as the city engineer. I did that job until 2018, when there was a personnel shift in DPW. A little resistant initially, I have to be honest, but it just works out. Prior to being with the city, I was in consulting for about 10 years. Happened to be a lot of my area of work has been in the water and sewer field. So I think, with the outgoing director Hackes and then now ex-director Pena, it just made sense for, given my background and my expertise, for me to move over to the water and sewer department. I was, after I took on the position and getting to know the department and the function of the department, it was easy for me to get comfortable and get to know the city system and all the work that we are doing currently in our systems. And it ended up being a good fit. I've been there comfortably for the last 2 years. As I said, I've been very happy with the work, with the work that's being performed in the department. I think we have a great group of men and women that work not only in administration, but also in operations. So that was pretty much the main component that I did not have experience prior, because in engineering, I was essentially a one-woman department until the few months that Felix and I got the chance to work together. So that was kind of my apprehension with taking over that position, was dealing with the personnel factor that I was now taking on. But it's definitely a great group of people to work with. And everyone, I hoped that they are, happy with the leadership that they're seeing in the department. I work well with the DPW directors. I always I work well with the mayor, prior administration and current. I'm very transparent and open about what I have an understanding of what the department needs. I'm very open about asking and explaining what those needs are, and working, of course, with everyone, all the stakeholders, in making sure that that we're doing what we need to do for our personnel, and also for all the residents of the city of Lawrence. So with that, I think it's just for a full circle to come back around and come back into water and sewer. Is just I think it's a great, another great opportunity. As I mentioned before I came on with the city, I worked for City of Smith for almost 10 years, which is a big environmental firm here in New England. They actually have done quite a bit of work here in the city of Lawrence. Last job, I believe, with them was the water treatment plant. I did a lot of work for municipalities. So it's just making the transition from the consultant and now being in the municipal side. It's been interesting, but it's been a very rewarding opportunity. I'm also, same as Felix, I am a civil engineer by degree. Graduated from UMass Lowell. I have a master's in environmental engineering from WPI, and I'm a registered professional in the state of New Hampshire and in the state of Massachusetts. My New Hampshire license is currently inactive just because I'm no longer working in New Hampshire, but I am a registered professional engineer in the state of Massachusetts, which I was happy to complete while working in the city of Lawrence.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that, and I'm sure my colleagues do as well. And I'll preface by saying you will get my least amount of questions of the three candidates tonight, because I feel like I've gotten to know you well over the last several years, and both your customer interface, if you will, as well as your technical proficiency. And I guess I'd just ask, you have Mr. LaHiff and Mr. Hale, I believe, and they're essentially your operators, right? So I'm not sure, but how do you feel about the move from, maybe you could just talk to me a little bit about, making the move from city engineer in the public works side of the house to the water and sewer. How do you feel about that? Is this something I know you've got your master's in environmental, so it probably is a bit of a natural. I'll stop talking, put that off on you. How do you feel about, the water side of the house, both coming and going?
No, as I mentioned before, I think this move just brings me full circle to what my professional background has been, even prior to coming to the city. It's just from engineering to here, it's just different types of systems, but same idea. I'm a little having having Mr. LaHiff and William and Billy Hale in more, as you said, as you call it, as more of an operation and being more hands-on with what's going on in the ground. That's been one change. It's just being able to detach myself a little bit and bring myself up to a level, because I sometimes I do wish I could be out overseeing the construction and making sure that things are being done right, because that's what my engineering, my city engineer hat, putting back on my city engineer hat. But I may have a couple of department head meetings and other things and budgets and all that good stuff that I now need to be concerned with. But it's been great. I think it's just it's moved me up another level professionally, and I appreciate the opportunity that I've been given in the push that I've been given by other people in the city that have seen my capabilities and have pushed me forward to bigger things.
Well, thank you. And I look forward to my colleagues' comments and questions this evening. So with that, colleagues, questions, Vice President Reyes?
Oh, yes. How am I gonna let that one go without saying how fortunate we are to have a person like Milagro?
Mhm.
I had the experience to be working with her in the past, and no has been one single time or try that I had called her, even weekends, that it was a moment that she didn't have a babysitter. She was planning to bring her daughter to a neighborhood meeting. So how do we can pay someone back with the beautiful smile that she has been showing? And that's what I didn't, with all respect for the two candidates before, because I like the three the same, but that's why we keep the best for last. Thank you, Milagros. We are going to be connected, not as, not as much as we did in the past, but I know that I feel full confidence that if I ever have any question, I can go back to you like I had been, and always referring people just for your answer and your support. Thank you for continue serving and working with our city.
Thank you, Councilor Reyes.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Gonzalez, any questions, comments, motions?
I have 10 questions.
Making up for me. Go ahead. Floor is yours.
First one. Did you went to graduate from Lawrence High School? No.
I did not.
Did not.
I did not, Councilor Gonzalez. I am
No,
a
I haven't.
proud Raider, class of 02.
No, no,
And
no,
don't
that's
hold that
okay.
against me. I do love Lawrence High. Very much
No.
respect for my Lancer friends.
No, I say no, they cannot be heard. It's a lady like you, with the, well, I think she went to another place to work because she couldn't find no job in Lawrence. But with you, we're not gonna let you go.
Oh, thank you.
No,
Thank you.
No, I'm really impressed with all the who you are, the education and everything. Well, lady first, I let her to make the motion to send it to the full council. Vice Chair,
Yes, that
make
would
the
be my motion with extra favor recommendation to send it for the full council.
second.
So the Vice President has made a motion. Counselor Gonzalez has seconded it. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Mr. Clerk, if you would, please read the roll.
Counselor Reyes,
Yes.
Counselor Gonzalez,
Yes,
and Chairman Abdul.
And the chairman votes in the affirmative. Congratulations, Milagros.
Thank you,
Congratulations.
counselors. Thank you very much.
We're recommending you, April 6th is the next meeting.
Yeah.
You know the drill.
I'll be there. Thank you.
We'll
Thank you so
we'll
much.
see you then. Do you have any
Thank
questions
you.
for us?
I'm sorry?
Do you have any questions for us?
No,
For
no,
me.
I'm all set. Thank you so much.
All right,
For
thank
me.
you.
Nice meeting you, Councilor Gonzalez.
thank you.
So with that, we have one tabled item, or I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
No, before that, I have something.
Council Reyes, floor is yours.
I do not want to let pass this opportunity to thank you. You had a great meeting today. I think that's the way we should conduct our meeting whenever we have an applicant, even though they are familiar to us, just to open up how you did it today. I think it was excellent. Your participation first, and then let they express, they leave us without question. I think this meeting was well prepared. Thank you for the effort, because I know that you're being extended email, but I can't say enough just to thank you how comfortable and confident I feel today. Not because the face were familiar, it was because the way the meeting was conducted. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Madam Vice President. Appreciate it. And that means a lot coming from you. Thank you.
Do I have no motion to take no table item? Motion to adjourn?
There is a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
No.
Let's keep going.
Yes.
We've got a motion to adjourn. and We have a second. All those in favor, say aye.
All right.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Mr. Clerk, one last time, if you'd read the roll, please.
Counselor
question.
Reyes,
Yes,
That's the question again.
Counselor Gonzalez,
Yes.
and Chairman Abdul.
And the chair votes yes. With that, we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone at home. Thank you to my colleagues and Mr. Clerk, Mr. Garcia. We can call you by your name now that there's only one of you on screen. And a special thanks to Mr. Mejia, our technology guru
oh,
behind
yeah.
the flag. Good night,
Thank
everyone.
Good evening.
Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you.
Night.